Gâteau invisible pomme.
Gâteau.
Gâteau invisible pomme.
Invisible.
Gâteau.
Gâteau invisible pomme. Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today I am making an invisible apple cake. It's also known as Gâteau invisible pomme in French, and I've seen a couple people on Instagram post this. It looks really interesting. Tried to look up, try to research some of the history of it, and I guess it's a fairly new dessert. Relatively recent from France. It gained popularity in the 2010s. What happens is because the apples are sliced so thinly, when it bakes, they kind of disappear into the cake. So today I'm going to show you how to make the cake and the caramel sauce. So there's a couple different recipes I found online for this, but the main one that I'm going by is an Instagram reel that I found from crowded_kitchen. I'll put it in the description as well as the ingredients. But for the cake, you are going to need 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, pinch of cloves, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, unsalted, that's important, 1/2 cup of whole milk at room temperature, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 3 large eggs, 2/3 cup granulated sugar, and 2 pounds of apples. I am actually doubling this recipe because I'm scared I'm gonna f it up. So I have 6 pounds of apples and the rest of the ingredients here. This will be my first time using a mandolin, so I hope I don't cut my finger off. Will make for good content if I do. I'm gonna start by peeling all of the apples. So I have this apple peeler. It does slice the apples, but it's not gonna be thin enough, so I took the slicer off. You can get this on Amazon. I'll link it and my Amazon storefront in the description. This is gonna take me a long time, so I don't know, time lapse maybe? Now I have all of the apples peeled. I'm going to use the mandolin to slice these at 1/8 of an inch. So basically I'm just gonna do this until all the apples are sliced. So, I have all of my apples sliced. I am now going to start with the dry mix, the dry ingredients. So it's 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and our spices. So we have 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. We're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I love the smell of nutmeg. And then we're also going to be doing a pinch of cloves. So I'm just going to do 1 pinch. It also calls for 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And that is it for the dry ingredients. So you have all your dry ingredients in the bowl. And we're going to beat the eggs and sugar for 90 seconds on medium speed. So I probably should have done that in I'm going to transfer the dry eggs into the bowl. No shells. And this recipe doesn't call for them. That's 1/3. That's 2/3. So we're gonna beat the eggs and the sugar together until pale, about 90 seconds. And now it says to add 1/2 of your flour. So we are going to add 1/2 of this into egg mixture and beat on low until just combined. So we don't want to overmix. Probably like 30 seconds max, I'm guessing. While I was mixing the eggs, I got my milk and my butter ready. So it asks for 1/2 cup of milk and 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm using a vanilla bean paste. I find that it works better than my vanilla extract that I have. So I'm just using this until I run out. Our melted butter and our milk. And we're gonna mix that until combined. So that is combined. Now we're gonna add the rest of our flour. The flour is going back in. The rest, I just spilled most of it on the counter. That's okay though. And then we're gonna mix that until the rest is combined. So we're just gonna pour that over, lightly mix this all together to cover the apples, which will help us when we're layering after. You really wanna make sure you separate these apples and get batter in between them. So I cleaned up a little bit. I started preheating my oven to 375. Really important part that we wanna do is grease our loaf pans. Easiest way to do this is just take the rest of your stick of butter from before, rub some in here, get it all over the edges. Now we're gonna put some flour in. Just tap it around all the edges. Basically, we're gonna put all of our apples into even layers all the way up to about 1/4 inch of space. So I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna make you watch, obviously, unless you want to. And I'll be back once I have them filled. What we're going to do is just pour some of the remaining batter over the top, and then we're going to want to tap the air bubbles out. Now you're going to put this in a 375-degree oven for about 75 minutes. While it's cooking, I'm going to make the caramel sauce, and I'll show you just how to do that. And for this, you're going to need sugar, apple juice, butter, a lemon, and a little bit of water. So I'm going to start just by cutting my lemon in half, squeezing just a tiny bit of juice in here, and this just helps it to not crystallize. We're going to use 1 cup of sugar, and then we're going to do 4 tablespoons of water. You're going to want to cook this over medium heat for about 8 to 10 minutes. Do not touch it. Just let it do its thing. Once it starts to turn like a dark amber, that's when we're going to come back to this. We're going to add our butter and our apple juice and whisk it together. Alright, so the caramel is actually starting to boil. You're going to start to see it turn brown pretty soon, so you want to keep an eye on it, but don't touch it still. So I have 6 tablespoons of butter here. I also have 2/4 cup of apple juice and a pinch of salt. And we're going to put those in after the butter. I'm going to do some ASMR. Okay, I'd say we're pretty much there. I don't want it to start burning. Now what's gonna happen when we add in our butter is this is gonna get real foamy. I think we're good. So I'm gonna add in the butter, and we're gonna whisk that in. You just don't stop, and we're gonna keep adding in our butter. I'm also gonna put my salt in now, just a pinch. Okay, and now I'm gonna add my apple juice. You're going to whisk that in. Be very careful because this will overflow, so you want to go slow. Now it is coating the back of the spoon, but it's not as thick as I would like it to be. I'm going to let it cook a little bit longer. I think we're pretty good now, so I'm going to turn the heat off. And I'm going to bring this over here. It looks really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it into this container. That way it's easy to pour later. So just be careful. So this is our caramel. I will see you guys when the cake's done. The Gâteau Invisible Pomme has cooled. I'm gonna start by layering some caramel. Our cake. Place ice cream. And it's done. Would you look at that? Now time for the taste test. Wow.
Wow.
It does almost taste like custard mixed with apple. You want to try it? Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for watching the video. If you liked it, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know if you try to make this. You definitely should, especially this time of year. I know apple picking's in right now. Definitely make this. If you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you did. And hit that bell icon, that way you know next time I put out a video. Until next time, I am not a chef.
Order up.
They know I'm filming. 3 pounds of apples.